Round 7 of the 2014 GP4 Offline Championship takes place here at the Montreal Street Circuit for the Canadian Grand Prix. Now, last time out, the Monaco Grand Prix Round 6 was won by Florian Volker, an unbelievably amazing race where only 8 cars finished, and Florian Volker took the win for Ferrari with Vicky Park-Rosane second and Julius Anderson third. Will we get the same in Canada? I don't know. Who knows what will happen in the AOC, but anyway, we're here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. 14 turns, the track length 4.361 kilometers, 70 laps, and the lap record set back all the way back in 2006 by Will Neller with a 112.0. So anyway, some of the action zones around the circuit. One of them includes turn 1, where we usually have some overtakes, but we also have some crashes, such as Vedran Vedrina back in 2013, involved with the Force India there. As we go further down the circuit, we have a good overtake by Andrew Neller past Joshua Anderson. This is back in 2006 at turns 4 and 5, one of the chicanes around this track. As we go further down, we get into the infamous chicane with the Wall of Champions, where we've had so many incidents over the years, such as what happened back in 2012 involving Volker, Byrne, Willows. So who knows what's going to happen. But the tyre compound we'll be using for this race will be the soft tyres, and the driver of the day was given to, not really much of a surprise, was given to Julius Anderson, taking third place for Caterham with the rating a 9 out of 10. But anyway, here is the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix, and on pole position is Kuba. For the first time, it is not a Mercedes front row, with Will Neller taking second for Williams. On the second row of the grid is Jane McKenzie with Roman Quagg fourth for Williams, so it's going to be an interesting battle come the race. On the third row is an all Red Bull third row with Nicolas Gow in fifth and Robert Ionescu in sixth position. Seventh position is Joseph Willis, followed by Florian Volker for 8th, so Ferrari on the 4th row now. And on the 5th row of the grid, we have Virginia for McLaren and Armand Carr for Force India in 10th. 11th position is David Greenwood for Lotus, and 12th is Vicky Park-Rosane for Force India. 13th place is Franco Gamma for Toro Rosso, followed by Rick Yan. 14th for Sauber. 15th place is Roberto Gamma from Russia, good qualifying from him with Oliver Glazebrook. 16th for Sauber. 17th place is Kirosima de Rossa, followed by Cameron Anderson, and 18th for Caterham. 19th position is Julius Anderson, with Alex Southgate 20th, and on the last row of the grid is Robert Hunter and Franco Lopez, not exactly the qualifying that Robert Hunter would have needed after an impressive 4th place finish in Monaco last time out. But as you can see, the forecast 56% chance of rain, and the sky is, quote, quite cloudy, but the track will be dry at the start. So as you can see, it is dry, but the rain is set to come. So this is going to be a very interesting Canadian Grand Prix. As the lights are about to come on, we now have 5 lights on, and we're now underway for the Canadian Grand Prix. And who is going to get the jump into the first corner? It looks like Kuba has made a great start and has stayed ahead of Will Neller into turn 1, and he does indeed keep the lead. McKenzie just about in 3rd position, keeping ahead of Roman Quagg and the other Williams, but a great start by Kuba, and he's already getting away. Look at that. Already getting himself a gap to Will Neller in front. That is a great start there from the Congolese driver. The question is, will there be any instance on lap 1? There usually is something that happens on the first lap. We shall see as they come through the turns. You can see actually the rain has now already started to fall at the start of the race. So the question is, when will the drivers start to pit, and how hard is it going to get? So that's going to be the interesting thing. But Kuba leads on the first lap with Neller in 2nd, 3rd is McKenzie, 4th is Roman Quagg, 5th is Gal, 6th is Ionescu. So pretty much all the same in the top 6 so far. 7th position is, I believe it is Joseph Willows with Florian Volker at 8th, and yep, that is correct. 9th is Vedrina, and 10th is Armand Carr. So I think they're stayed in actually just about the same positions, as Vedrina tries to make a move on Volker coming into the hairpin for 8th place, but he can't quite do it there. Greenwood's in 11th, Park-Rosane 12th, and then we look through the rest of the order, and it looks like everyone has actually got through relatively well with no damage at all. So everyone has got through the first lap. Well, it depends as they come up into the chicane, as Vedrina is now on the inside of Florian Volker coming into the chicane. Volker, who won the Monaco Grand Prix last time out, unfortunately, it's back to reality for him. And Vedrina makes the move for 8th position. So that is one person that has moved actually in the top 10. As Carr now trying to make a move on the inside of Volker coming into turn 1. And I think is he alongside? Yes, he is. And I think he's going to have the move done. And yes, he moves up into 9th place. That's a great start by good move, I should say, by Armand Carr. Good start by Vedrina and Carr, but not a good start by Florian Volker. As we're now on to lap 4 of the race, and at the moment Carr is still in 9th position, just ahead of Volker in 10th position, so he's a little bit behind Junior. He's actually 2.4 seconds ahead of Volker, so Volker right now is really struggling. As we're looking at Waste Kuba coming into the first corner, it's still raining, but no sign of anyone yet making a move for wet tyres. We're looking at Jay McKenzie, who's actually moved ahead of Will Neller, crucially for second place, coming into the chicane, and he makes it with relatively easy, no collisions at all. So as we go back onto lap 5, Kuba's got a huge lead. We're going to look at 10 seconds. This is 20. Well, it's kind of like Vettel's domination in 2013 at the moment. He's so far ahead of everyone else at the moment. The two Red Bulls are beside each other. There's a yellow flag out somewhere, and that is, I think, at the first chicane. And what has happened? And it's Robert Hunter. Robert Hunter, who finished 4th last time out at Monaco, is out, and it's the first retirement of the race on lap 5. So what has happened to him? And let's see. So he was running in 21st. He was running in almost dead last. As he comes to the chicane and gets a little bit out wide and goes into the wall. Does it right in front of Alex Southgate there. So Southgate was lucky to avoid going into the back of him there or hitting any of the debris, but it just went a little bit wide over the curves and boom into the wall. You have to be careful, and Southgate had to brake hard there and actually hit some of the debris, but fortunately didn't suffer any damage there. As they come to, you can see, just was never really going to make the corner, went a little bit wide off the curve into the wall, and that is Robert Hunter's race done on lap 5. Disappointing after he scored a top 5 finish, got 4th place last time out at Monaco, but that is his race done. As we're now looking at about the 16th place, this is between one of the Andersons, I'm not sure which, one of the Andersons and Rick Yan, because obviously it's either Julius or Cameron Anderson. As they're coming into the chicane, but Rick Yan is on the inside. And does he make the move stick? Yes, he does. And the catering goes over the wall. That's Julius Anderson. And he's going to try and get into the pit lane. And has he made it? No, he hasn't. And that is Julius Anderson's race over. And oh, dear me. And there was that's the problem with overtaking into that chicane. If you go over the curbs, it will just launch the car and break it. As you can see, it just goes wide. And there was that infamous curb. And then he goes up in the air right there, loses the front wing, and then tries to get into the pits, but it's just way too late. He's lucky he didn't lose any more of the car there, but tried to go back into the pit lane, but the angles were all against him there, and just goes into the wall, and there he loses his wheel. So that is Julius Anderson's race done. So we're now on lap 12. At the moment, no cars. Well, actually, we are going to have one car in the pits. Armar Carr is set to be the first driver to pit. As you can see, the skies have got quite dark, and the spray is now coming up. So I think probably now is around about the time where drivers are going to start to pit for wet tyres. So Armar Carr is going to be the first one to pit for wet tyres. So it'll be very interesting to see when the other teams look at this, what Carr's pace is like as he comes into the pits. It looks fairly wet out there. So he puts on, not the intermediates, the wet tyres. And he comes back out on the track. I would have probably put on the intermediates at this point in time, but he puts on the wets nonetheless. And he comes out of the pit. So where is he going to come out? He's going to come out behind De Rossa, Jan, behind Glazebrook. So he's going to come out all the way down. It looks like P17 as he comes round out the pit. Or is he going to come out ahead of Glazebrook? No, he doesn't quite do that. But he's now trying to get on the inside of Glazebrook, but he can't quite do it there. He's got a whole load of spray in his face, so he's not going to be able to make a move now. But we'll see if he's got the grip or not. As he comes onto the track, will he be able to get past any of these cars relatively quickly, or is it just slightly too early to pit for wets? But Kuba actually will be pitting relatively soon anyway, so I imagine when he comes in he'll pit for wet tyres. I think it would make the most sense. So we're looking at Carr, who's behind Glazebrook right now. He's sticking with him, so I mean, I guess probably the wet tyres are probably the right choice right now. I don't know, but it just depends how much grip they've still got on the dries. But he's right behind him. You can't really see Glazebrook's car in front. All you can see is just spray. As Carr's now trying to make a move on the inside of Glazebrook into the hairpin. Can he do it? And the answer is no, he can't. Goes over the curb a bit there. Won't get a great exit of the corner. But you can see coming onto the back straight, you can see it is pretty dry. Well, it's dry coming off the exit of the hairpin, but then obviously coming onto the straight is where it is pretty wet. As there's a yellow flag out somewhere, something. Oh, there's debris. Something else has happened, and it's Carr's teammate Rifki Farkazane who is out of the race. And what has happened to him? He took second place in Monaco, but sadly he's going to get no points today. He was battling with David Green for the last point spot. He made a move on the inside and just hit that infamous curb, and that sadly was his race over. So that curb is the bane of the driver's existence. Everyone seems to have problems with that, but that is Riku Harukazene's race over, as now a lot of the big boys are coming into the pits. So Gal is in, Quag is in, Vidrina is in. So as he comes out the pits, and there's more cars coming in, but Vidrina's having to wait for cars to go past. Oh, this is going to affect him badly here. And he has to wait for the Toro Rosso and the Marussia to come out ahead. So he now comes out behind, but he's going to lose a lot of time and probably a few places. We haven't seen actually what Car's pace has been like on the wet tyres. I'm not sure where he is in the order right now. But as David Greenwood is in, Roberto Gamba has to wait for the Toro Rosso to go. And oh, he's been hit there by Cameron Anderson as he comes into the pits. And he does eventually rejoin, but that was interesting there, as Cameron Anderson wanted him out the way so he could get into his pit stall. Or pit box, I should say, as Southgate appears from his pit box with apparently no wheels, which is interesting, as Kuba now comes in for his first pit stop, as now actually the tyres have come back. But Waze Kuba rejoins. He was pitting around about this time anyway, but he pits for the wet tyres, so it's kind of working pretty well for Kuba right now. He was so far clear of everyone else. No, they've come in the same lap, the Mercedes, and this is going to badly affect Jay McKenzie. And it was looking very comfortable for Mercedes 1-2, but this will be very interesting, as actually Nella has come into the pits the same lap, Ferrari coming out for a driver as well, and I imagine probably Robert Ionescu will be in the same lap too. But McKenzie eventually changes his tyres and comes out as Ionescu is in as well. But that is not good, as now Nella has jumped back ahead of McKenzie after the stops, but will McKenzie be able to get back out ahead of him after? Will be interesting to see, as Florian Volker comes in for a stop onto the wet tyres. Who else is in? Couldn't quite see as the dashboard went there, but I think Lotus is going to come in for a driver. Our car's back out on track. He's coming out in, it looks like, in the points, so it's worked out pretty well for him, I have to say. De Rosa comes in for another set of tyres, for a set of wet tyres, I should say. I think he's one of the last ones to come in for wets. Oliver Glazebrook in as well. Frank, I think, that was Roberto Gamba, I think. No, in fact, it was actually Franco Lopez, because Roberto Gamba came in a lap or two ago, actually. So Franco Lopez comes in, and he's going to come up behind his teammate. So I think that means everyone is now on the wet tyres. So, and Mackenzie's actually dropped behind Ionescu as well, I think, actually. As we're looking at Wilnella coming through the chicane, he is so far behind Waze Kuba right now. He's in his own race at the moment. As we're looking at Miklos Gal, comes in. Oh, Miklos Gal's got a problem. Miklos Gal's got a loose wheel. And Miklos Gal, unfortunately, his bad luck continues. He's really not getting the rub of the green right now. He was running in P3 because he actually jumped ahead of McKenzie as well in the stops. And he was lucky that the problem that he had was just before the pits, actually, just coming into the chicane. So he's quite lucky there, Miklos Gal, as a matter of fact. But that's still not going to do good for his race, sadly, as he comes into the pits for the second time today. So I think the majority of drivers will probably do 3 stops. I doubt anyone will do 2, we'll see. But Waze Kuba is... Oh, and there's a car off the track, and that is Roberto Gamba, who's just rejoined there. That's at turn 1, and he cut off turn 2 there. And there was another car involved, I don't know who it was, and it was Oliver Glazebrook, so they were battling for 15th place, and then just a little bit of contact there. Glazebrook was around, and Roberto Gamba had to cut the corner, and actually didn't lose any positions, so I suppose he got away with that one, you could say. Quite a hefty whack there. He's lucky not to lose any parts of his car, is Roberto Gamba, but he keeps going nonetheless. As we're looking at Wilnella running in second place, with Jay McKenzie now in third, having inherited that after Miklos Gal suffered that loose wheel problem. As there's Ionescu right behind Roman Quag. There's Volker in 9th position, and oh, Volker, I think he's got a problem. And yes, Florian Volker has got an issue, and it's a water leak. And Florian Volker, after winning Monaco, and I don't know if that's terminal or not, if he's going to be able to make it to the pits in time. But Florian Volker, that is not good for his race. And the man who won at Monaco last time out, his first win for Ferrari, he was absolutely buzzing about that. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to the pits in time. If he can, he might be able to salvage something. If not, then that is his race over. He's got a bit of a gap to Greenwood behind in 10th, but he's going to close that up. Taking him out of the straight, and no, I think the blue lights come on, so I think that is, and I think that's smoke coming from his car, I think. I mean, I don't know, it's just a lot of spray, but I think that is Florian Volker's race over and done with. As you know, the lights gone off. I think there might have actually been a blue flag, actually, as a matter of fact. But the pits is right there, so will he make it to the pits or not? And no, he avoids the pits, so the problem is terminal. And that is Florian Volker's race done and dusted as we're coming onto the straight. And now he's slowing down. The car is crawling to a halt as David Greenwood goes past him for 10th place. And Franco Gamba comes by as well. And that is Florian Volker's race over and done with. So there we go. Unfortunate there for the German. But that's just the way things go, really. His car is actually still... it's not stopping, though. It's actually rolling down towards turn 1. So that's... going to be interesting for the drivers coming through. Still rolling, and it's still not stopping, so he's forgotten to put the brakes on, I guess. He's still going, and he's coming to a halt. Is he? I mean, the marshal comes out, but then goes back in, and now the car eventually rolls to a halt. And that is Florian Volker's race over and out. So there we go. Disappointing for the Ferrari driver, but hey ho. So it happened actually coming into the second chicane as he was coming through, running in P9, chasing veteran Petrina, and there was the problem that struck for Florian Volker, and that was his race over. As we're looking at here, this was the I think this was Wade Kuba was behind all this, and oh wow, look at that, just speeds past. I don't think he realised that Florian Volker's car was there. So we're looking at Franco Gamba coming into the first chicane. He's gone a bit wide, and he goes off, and he manages to keep it on the road just ahead of the Lotus of De Rosa. So he's lucky that there wasn't any contact there or didn't go into the wall. But you can see Franco Gamba just went wide, and fortunately he came onto the track in front of De Rosa. But fortunately he wasn't going fast. Unfortunately De Rosa actually saw him coming, so it's good driving by both there. As we're looking at Franco Lopez, who just went past the chicane, as we're looking into, there's a bit of a battle there. There's Roberto Gamba now in the pits for Marussia, and let's see where he comes back out onto the track. So, I mean, I don't know why he's pitting. I mean, he's still got loads of fuel. Is he pitting onto another tyre? Is this the extreme wets? I'm not sure, but he's pitting onto another set of wets, is Roberto Gamba, so clearly the rain must be getting heavier. So it's going to be interesting to see what the other drivers look at this, or the other teams look at this and think, what is he doing? And having a look as he comes out the pits. He comes out P18, so he's already a lap down. So where is? I mean, I don't know where Kuba is, but Quag is actually coming into the pits as well. Inescu stays out, so Roman Quag comes in for another stop. They've still got loads of fuel left. They've fueled them very heavily indeed. So let's see. I think he's going on the extreme wets, I imagine. I mean, they both look the same to me, I'm not sure, but anyway, as Almar Carr actually is in as well on the same lap, and let's see where he comes back out onto the track. So Carr pits for another set of wets. He was running, I suppose that it was a good, he was the first one to pit for the wet tyres, so it worked pretty well for him, I have to say, as he comes back out onto the track. He looks like just inside the points. In P10s, he comes out of the pit, and he just, I think, actually comes out ahead of Greenwood, so I think he'll actually come out P9, as Franco Gamba now comes in for another set of wets. And let's see where he comes back out on the track. It's not been a good season so far for Franco Gamba. Sadly, hasn't had the rub of the green, as he comes now down the pit exit, and let's see where he comes back out onto the track. So as he comes out, looks like just ahead of his cousin. As now Mackenzie and Nella are battling as they're actually about to come into the pits together. They're both pitting on the same lap. So who is going to get into the pits first? It's side by side, and I don't know who's won that, but Mackenzie and Nella is coming through, and Mackenzie lifts up in the air, and Mackenzie has been lofted up into the air, and I think he's missed his pit stall, his pit box. Why do I keep calling it stall? He's missed his pit box after that battle with Nella there. So Mackenzie's going to have to do another lap around. And oh my word, that is... his limiter's still on. He's still going very slowly. He's obviously forgotten to turn it off. But Nella's come in. Nella's pitted. Inescu's pitted. And so is Joseph Willows. But oh my word. So Jamie Mackenzie's going to have to go around for one more lap and pit again. I've never seen that before in the OC. So they were battling for second place. Mackenzie had called up to Nella again. And they were both pitting on the same lap, and neither was going to give way as they were coming into the pits. I've never seen this happen before. because they were coming side by side, and I think his pit stop was right. Yeah, it was right there. He was trying to turn, but he couldn't because Nella was there. And Nella was like, no, and Mackenzie missed it by a mile. And then Nella's pit stop was a lot further up. It was relatively near the end. So Mackenzie continues onto the track, but he's going to lose. He is going to lose out once again because Nella is surely going to come out back ahead of him unless he's had a horrendous lap. As you can see, Vedran Vedrina I think will be coming in the pits as well, and now Mackenzie comes in, and oh my word, and because of what happened last night, his pit crew aren't ready for him. Oh my word. And this is turning out to be a pretty nightmare race for Mackenzie. I mean, I can't imagine what Kuba's thinking. He's just absolutely strolling it out front. He's strolling it, no pun intended. As Mackenzie comes out the pits, he's so far behind everyone else. He dropped all the way down to just inside of the points. So that is worked out horrendously. And look at that, Kuba is actually a minute ahead. He is a minute ahead of Wilnilla, and we're not even at halfway point of the race yet. That is ridiculous. How has he got so much pace? But Mackenzie's going to come out. He's going to come out ahead of Riccian, or not? And the answer is no. He doesn't. He actually comes out behind. But oh no, maybe not. And Mackenzie actually goes straight past him there. So he takes 10th position from Riccian. And so he gets himself back into the points. Mackenzie will want to recover this as soon as possible. It has not gone well for him. It's actually Riccian was coming in this lap anyway. So let's see how quickly the stop will be. But it's been a nightmare race for Jay Mackenzie. And he'll hope to see if he can recover that. I don't think he'll be able to get a 1-2. I mean, who knows? He'll probably be able to get in at least the top 5 with the pace that the Mercedes has. Or certainly by at least judging what Kuba has. But anyway, we look at Franco Lopez, the Argentine, coming in for another stop. I mean, they've still got, I don't know why the team's put so much fuel in when clearly the conditions are changing. I'm really not sure. But anyway, Riccian comes out of his pit box. And Franco Lopez comes out onto the track. He is pretty much, I think, last actually because Volker's out the race. So he's in P18 in last position. Riccian comes out in P15. We look at him coming round the first chicane. We're looking at Nicolas Gal, who's going to be making another stop. So Nella now is in a pretty comfortable P2 now because with Mackenzie out the window and with Gal having to pit as well, it's looking pretty good for Will Nella to at least get second place. I don't think there's any chance he's going to get P1 unless Kuba has a crash or a mechanical failure, but I don't think that is going to happen. But we're looking at Kuba, who's just coming through the chicane. He's already lapped up until David Greenwood, who is running in P8, so that is quite insane. Quite ridiculous, to be honest, how he's so quick. I don't know what they've put into his car, but he's right now having a flawless race as De Rosa is in for another stop onto, I mean, they're the darker blue tyres, so I guess maybe they're the extreme wets. I guess, I mean, they're certainly the darker tyre compared to the other wet tyres, so I think these are the actual extreme wets. So I'll have to see how De Rosa does on these tyres. If we're looking at a battle for P7, this is between Nicolas Gal and David Greenwood, as Gal is trying to make a move on the inside, coming onto the straight, and I think he passed him, and yes he is, he gets ahead of him, but now Jay Mackenzie is wanting to recover positions as well. He wants to get past Greenwood as soon as possible, and he's side by side with David Greenwood, and surely he's going to have to move down and come into the chicane, and hopefully Greenwood doesn't make the same mistake many other drivers have had and go onto the curb. And the answer is no, he doesn't. He lets Kuba through, Mackenzie, sorry, I should say. And he now moves up as Kuba's actually kind of lap these guys. As soon as we're looking at a battle for P9 between Vedrina and Greenwood, as Vedrina makes his way up into P9 and David Greenwood down into 10th position. As they come now down through the turn 2, heading into turns 3 and 4. As we're looking at the leader of the race, Waze Kuba, who is in another dimension right now, as we are now at the halfway point of the race on lap 39. At 70, he's lapped up until I think P5, and oh, that's Vedran Vedrina, and oh dear, Vedran Vedrina is out of the race, and I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know where that is. That is at the second chicane. Actually, no, the third chicane. Actually, that is. So what happened to Vedran Vedrina? Let's see on board from his car. Did he have a crash? I don't think he did. And what was the problem? And it was... oh, so it was a mechanical problem that forced Vedrina out of the race, coming into the third chicane for the hairpin. And this was the battle between Robert Ionescu and Roman Quag. Remain Quag, however you want to say it, as Inescu makes his way on the inside and makes it up into P3. And so that's a good move there by the Romanian driver, gets past Quag, as we're now looking at Kuba making a pit stop for Mercedes. And let's see, so these must be the extreme wets, because they're a much darker tyre than the wet tyres. So there you go, he comes into the pits, has made his stop 7.7 seconds, and comes out still comfortably in the lead. I reckon he'll probably lap everyone before the end of this race, I think, with his pace. Let's see if he comes out track. He comes out in clear air, so he's going to have so much room to just stroll about. And no, sorry, that's Vadrina's car that's being pushed away. I thought that was another problem there, but looking at Rigan down in 17th position. Looking at Caranaz in 15th. There's, I think, Oliver Glaze in 14th position. For Sauber, who's coming into the pits this lap as well. And in he comes for another stop. So, I mean, he's still got plenty of fuel, so I don't know why the team's actually fueled the drivers just so heavily, judging by the conditions, I don't know. But anyway, Oliver Glazebrook comes into the pits. And let's see where he comes back out onto the track. And 5.6 second stops, that's pretty quick. So he's going to come out, I think, he's going to come out in last position, because P17, because Vadrina is out of this race, so that is actually last. And he comes out just behind, I think, Roman Quag, who's just coming into some traffic there. As we're looking at Jamie McKenzie running in 8th position right now, trying to recover places after after that pit stop gaff, we'll say. As he's coming up to battle with Miguelos Gal in the Red Bull. As we're looking at Waze Kuba coming onto the flat straight. As we're looking at David Greenwood coming into the pits. And let's see where Greenwood comes back out onto the track as he comes into the pits. And how quick will this stop be? As there's another car coming in behind him, and I believe, is it Alex Southgate? I imagine it is, and it is in fact Southgate, and Greenwood's going to have to wait for Southgate to come in, and so now he goes out. And let's see where he comes back out onto the track. Alex Southgate obviously started right at the back, started, I think it was 20th place, I think he started. Yeah, he was 20th place, just ahead of Robert Hunter, and so he's done relatively well. I mean, we haven't heard much about him this race, as McKenzie makes his move on Miguelos Gal coming into turn 1. It looks extremely wet out there now. Look at how shiny the track surface is. It's so wet now, but I don't think that really matters to Kuba. It could snow right now and he'd still comfortably be ahead of everyone else. As we're looking at Armand Carr coming into the pits, Joseph Willard's just coming out of his pit box, comes ahead of Armand Carr. Jamie McKenzie in as well. I think the team I think hopefully remembered this time to actually come out in time, as Miguelos Gal came in the same lap as well and comes out ahead of McKenzie, so that didn't really last long for McKenzie there, getting ahead of Gal, so now he's going to have to do it all over again back onto the track. So there we are. As we look at Frank Gamba, who is running in P9 and having a relatively good race. Frank Gamba kept out of trouble as he comes now in for his pit stop. I imagine he'll be going on to the extreme wets as he now comes into his pit box and changes all 4 tyres. There's another team coming out ahead. I think that is the Lotus team, I believe. I think that must be for Greenwood, as Gamba now rejoins. As we're looking as Southgate comes through the track, Cameron Anderson's coming in, Roberto Gamba's coming in. I think these guys must be coming in for the extreme wet tyres. As we look at Roberto Gamba coming in, and let's see how quick this stop will be. And in comes Karen Anderson, switches on to the extreme wets. Will Neller in as well in P2. He goes on to the extreme wets and he comes back out onto the track. Robert Ionescu comes out as Kuba is actually going to lap them pretty soon. He might even lap them in the next few laps unless he has to pit one more time, which I believe he probably will. But I don't think that really matters much to him right now, because Kuba is in a league of his own, as Roman Quag is now at the moment temporarily in P2, but obviously he will be pitting once more before the end of the race. I forgot to check actually how much fuel that Nella and Ionescu because I imagine that they will both go to the end. I need to see once again if they have put enough fuel in. There's Oliver Glazebrook is trying to unlap himself, trying to get past Roman Quark here, as Roberto Gamba is a bit behind as well, coming through the chicane, coming through the third chicane out 4 on this track. And let's see, he comes now down towards the hairpin. I can't see if Glazebrook has made a move on Quark or not. And no, he's right behind him though. I think he'll might make a move on the straight there. He's actually going on the inside of Quark there, but he can't quite make it stick. As now Roberto Gamba is coming into this little fight here. He might make a fancy move on Glazebrook coming into the chicane, but actually Quark will be pitting this lap as a matter of fact. So there we are. So we're looking at Franco Lopez is in the pits as well, as you can see over on the graphic, and there he is. As Quark now comes in for a pit stop from P2, so this will be his final one of the race, and then he will come in. And let's see, so Quark now makes his pit stop. And so he'll come up behind Nello Ninescu. Will he be able to catch him before the end? I don't know. We shall see. As Quark now comes out of his pit box. 7.1 seconds stop. Slowish, but he's going to come up behind Ionescu and Nello, which he just come up behind Ionescu. He'll come out, looks like, in P4, I think. So, actually P5, actually, unless he gets ahead of Joseph Willows. And Willows, does he have to go pit before the end? I'm not sure if he does. And he comes out just ahead of Willows, and Willows actually doesn't have to pit, so that was important for Quark that he comes out just ahead of Willows, because those two could be having a battle before the end of the race. As we're looking at Jay McKenzie, who's now on the back of Nicholas Gal, they're fighting each other once again. So they're now coming down the back straight. Will McKenzie make a move into the chicane? I don't think so. I think he's a little bit too far back. Can't see really any of the cars in front because of the spray. But Gal tried to defend. I don't know why, because he's now going to have a terrible exit coming out of the corner. And now surely McKenzie is going to make a move coming into the first corner. I can't see the car in front of me. There's so much spray. McKenzie's on the inside. And he makes the move for P7. A good move there in tricky conditions. He comes through turns 1 and 2. And he comes now onto the first chicane. And let's see. So he's got car ahead of him who's 10 seconds ahead. So I don't know if we'll be able to catch up with him or not. So we're looking at Kuba, who will be having to make one more stop before the end of the race, so but it won't matter, as I said, because he's just so far ahead of everyone else. So I don't know who he's actually coming up to pass here. I think, is that Will Nella? And yes, it is. And so Kuba has now officially lapped everyone on track, and that is quite incredible. And we've still got 20 laps to go, and that is just quite incredible, to be honest. As we're looking at Ionescu, who is who is in third place. He's quite far off Will Nella in front, so I don't think. Armar Car makes a little excursion in turn 1. So I don't know if Ionescu will be able to catch up with Nella or not, but he'll need probably to have a bit more pace in the car if he wants to do that. He was chasing Joseph Willows ahead of him, but he comes out a bit handed. But the car, as you can see, comes through and now goes wide and then rejoins. Doesn't lose any positions, but unfortunately does lose time to Joseph Willows in front of him. As now Kuba now does come in for his final stop of the race. It's been absolutely flawless. Probably one of the best drives we've seen really this year. I don't think I've seen anyone so dominant. I mean, some people will say it's the car, but still, I mean, even with the car, I mean, that's quite extraordinary how he's had the perfect strategy, and it's worked for him, and that's why he's so far clear. I mean, the amount of fuel he had from when the rain came, just works so well. So now we're looking at a battle for P6. This is between Armand Carr and Jay McKenzie, as they've got, I think, actually some traffic ahead of them, unless that is Roman Quaggan and Willows ahead. I'm not sure, but McKenzie's now trying to make a move on the inside of Carr, and they make contact, and oh my word, and Carr so nearly goes into the back of, I think that was a Marussia there, coming into the hairpin. That was very, very close indeed. Let's have a look at what happened again from the replays. We can see, so there was the contact, and Carr so nearly goes into the back of Franco Lopez there in the Marussia. That was so close. See, there was the contact, and especially on the wet surface, he was a bit of a sitting duck with Carr, and then the car just goes straight off, and then, oh my word, look at that. That was so close. And how they got away with that, I have no idea. But anyway, we're looking at McKenzie, who, having made that move on Carr, quite robust to say the least, is now on the back of Joseph Willows. So we've now got just over 10 laps to go. As he now is Mackenzie's going to make a move on the inside of Willows, and oh, he's made more contact with Willows, done the same thing to Carr as he same thing to Willows as he did to Carr, and he now makes the move for P5 there. That was certainly a bit unnecessary. He's certainly not hanging around as Mackenzie's certainly frustrated at how this race has gone, and it shows Willows nearly makes contact there with the Sauber as he rejoins on track, and now we're looking at Amar Carr, who's now on the inside of Willows, who got a terrible exit out of the hairpin because of that contact with Mackenzie. Now Carr is going to make a move on the inside for P6 coming into the chicane. Has he got the move done? And yes, he has. He makes it up into P6, so Willows down to P7, so Mackenzie up to P5. But he's in for a top 5, which I predicted he probably would get, as he's now onto the back of Roman Quag for P4. I don't know if he'll be able to catch up Ionescu for P3 if he does get past. But as Mackenzie trying to make a move desperately into the hairpin, he's on the inside. There was almost contact. Has he made the move stick? I think he has, yes, and he makes the move stick for P4. But Roman Quag is still right behind. He's actually going to be in the slipstream, so I think Quag is going to try and make a move back here, as he's now right behind him, and he is going to try and make a move back. He's on the inside of Mackenzie, coming into the final chicane. Quag on the inside, and he makes it for P4, makes the position back, so that's a good racing between the two. So Mackenzie's going to try and get it again, as there's a bit of traffic holding up in this battle between Carr and Joseph Willows here. So we're coming in towards the chicane, and he's struggling to get past him, and Willows is going to make a move on the inside. Carr was getting held up there by the traffic, and is Willows going to make the move on the inside into the chicane. And there's a yellow flag out, and I don't know if that was where Willows was. He comes through, and oh, there's a massive accident, and Mackenzie's involved, and Quag is involved. Oh my word, Mackenzie's nightmare race comes to an end, and he's been involved with Roman Quag as well, and they've had a crash at the chicane. And Quag, who does rejoin, and he can't go into the pits, so I think he's going to have to go through the whole lap. And yes, he does. He actually does the sensible thing. He doesn't stupidly go to the pits. But what happened here? So Mackenzie was on the inside coming into the chicane, just went a bit wide, went over the curb, and unfortunately hit the wall. And then Quag sadly got caught behind Mackenzie's stationary car. So he went wide. Mackenzie went over the curb, and that's what did him there. And the Prix took his front. But his front right wheel off. I mean, his left was already off. But as we're looking here, did Willows pass under yellow flags here? Because I'm pretty sure I saw a yellow flag. And yes, there was the yellow flag. And as he went past Carr, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, he will receive a 5-second time penalty for overtaking Carr under yellow flags. So Carr just needs to stay within 5 seconds of him before the end of the race, and he'll finish ahead. And so I think he'll finish in P. That was a move for P, I think, 6th, so that will be, I think, P4. That will be between Willows and Carr coming through the chicane, as there was the damaged car of Mackenzie there. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens for P. The battle for P4 there, as Quag now comes into the pits to replace his front wing, and David Greenwood is also in as well for some reason. I don't know why, but Quag's pit crew, as you can see here, are not ready for him. No, dear me, I don't know what Williams are thinking there. They obviously thought he was coming in the previous lap, and obviously he didn't. So he's going to be held up a lot more here, Quag. So it's turned into a pretty disastrous race at the moment, as Quag now rejoins 14.8 seconds, and he actually comes up behind David Greenwood, and Franco Gamba is going to come out ahead of both those two. So Franco Gamba is actually going to be in the points for the first time this season. So it's been a great race so far for Franco Gamba, as there's Wilnella just coming across the line, as Kuba is now set to lap him again to ensure that everyone on the track will be a lap behind. And oh wait, hang on, as Quag actually comes up just in front of Kuba there and tries to get ahead of Wilnella. I mean, he will have the fresher tyres. As we're looking at Quag, who's been passed by Kuba, now Kuba is going to try and get past Wilnella once again for second place. I mean, Nella might as well just let him through and let Quag through, because he's in P2 and he's not going to be threatened by Ionescu in P3, as there's the order. So Kuba in first, Nella second, Ionescu third, Willows in fourth, as Kuba gets past Nella and laps him now. Winning all cars lap. Carr in 5th place at the moment, but he could be 4th, depending on the gap for the end of the race. Gal down to 6th. Southgate, look at that, up 13 places into 7th. That's a great race from him. Franco Gamba at the moment in 8th, David Greenwood in 9th position, and obviously Roman Quag in 10th, as we can see here. As we're looking now at the battle for 8th position, and this is the battle between Franco Gamba, David Greenwood, and Roman Quag. Obviously, Greenwood and Quag are on much fresher tyres than Franco Gamba here, and Gamba really needs to be careful, because he really wants to get points. And there's contact, and well, excuse me, as Gamber's been pushed out of the way by David Greenwood, and so he's going to lose the position to him, and I think he's lost the position to Roman Quagg as well. There was the contact, and oh my word, and that was pretty close too. Can you imagine the scenes if he went into the back of Kuba there? That was very, very close, but they got away with it nonetheless, and that is, I think, so Greenwood up into 8th, Quagg 9th, and Franco Gamba down into 10th position. But here is your race leader, Waze Kuba. What an unbelievable race from him. Utter dominance. No one has even come close to what he has done today. It's been some race, I have to say. So as he comes through, heading towards the second chicane, and the battle behind between Greenwood and Quagg is still raging, so those two are probably going to be battling towards the end of the race. Gamba obviously has fallen away because he's on much worse tyres than those two are. But, I mean, there's not really much else I can say about Kuba. Absolutely dominated this race from the start. He must have led, I think, every lap, I'm pretty sure. But correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he's led nearly every lap of this race. He's been that far ahead of everyone else. It's been quite frankly absurd how he's managed to get this far. I don't know how. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I really cannot run out of superlatives to describe this drive. As he comes now down the front straight, as not Quagg, Greenwood and Quagg could still are going to still probably have a battle into the final chicane. I don't know whether Quagg is actually going to be close enough to get past Greenwood. I'm not sure, but Greenwood does defend. Anyway, that doesn't matter now as Waze Kuba comes through the final chicane. What a race it's been for him. He's lapped the entire field, and Waze Kuba wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Congratulations to him, as Greenwood just holds off Quagg for P8 there, as Franco Gamba gets his first ever points of the season. His first points of the season, I should say. As Will Nellis across the line in second. Inesco takes a good third place for Red Bull. Rick Yan will just miss out on the points for Sauber in P11, but Franco Gamba needed that points finish. It's only 1 point, but a point is better than nothing. As Rick Yan comes through the final chicane, and he comes now down onto the front straight, and he's going to set to take P11. Not the race he particularly wanted, but he's never really was on the pace really for any points. De Rossa in 12th, Willows in 4th, Carr just behind him 5th, 1.4 I think that was to Willows. So I think Carr will take P4 instead of Willows after that 5-second penalty, as Gal comes across the line in 6th. Greenwood comes across the line in 14th place. Glazebrook comes across the line in 14th place. Cameron Anderson comes across the line for 15th for Caterham. As we look at Franco Lopez, who will finish in last position, comes across the line in P16 as he now finishes. As we look at Alex Southgate, it will take a very impressive 7th place for the British driver. Started 20th position, so I think he'll be pretty happy with that to get 7th out of this race. So Southgate comes across the line, and that is P7 for him. And there we go. Race is over. So there we go. What a race by Waze Kuba. He is the winner. 1 hour and 42 minutes that race was. But that was certainly quite an enjoyable one. So here are the full race results. So Waze Kuba wins the race with Will Nellis second, Robert Idescu third, Omar Carr up to 4th after that penalty for Willows. Miklos Gowan 6th, Alex Southgate 7th, David Greenwood 8th, Roman Quagg 9th, and Franco Gamba taking his first points of the season in 10th. With Rick Yan in 11th position. As we go through the rest of the order, Curiosity De Rossa in 12th, Roberto Gamba 13th, Oliver Glazebrook 14th, Cameron Anderson 15th, Franco Lopez in 16th position, Jay McKenzie and the following drivers retired: Jay McKenzie, Vedra Virginia, Florian Volker, Rivki Park-Rosane, Julius Anderson and Robert Hunter. And the fastest lap was also set by, no surprise, Waze Kuba in the drive with a 1:15. So Waze Kuba now takes the lead of the standings. He's so far clear of McKenzie in second place now. Inescu just 5 points behind McKenzie in second, with Roman Quagg now back down to 4th by just 2 points, and then a big gap to Will Miller in 5th, who's moved ahead of Volker in 6th. Willows up to 7th with Omar Carr in 8th position. Alex Southgate 9th. As we look through the rest of the order, as Vedra Matrina is in 12th, Rick Yan 13th, Julius Anderson 14th, Robert Hunter 15th, Roberto Gamba, David Greenwood, Oliver Glazebrook, and Franco Gamba took his first points finish of the season with De Rossa 20th. So Cameron Anderson and Franco Lopez, the only 2 drivers so far yet to score any points. So in the constructor standings, Mercedes have got a 50-point gap over Williams in second place. Themselves are 20 points ahead of Red Bull in third, who are 15 points ahead of Ferrari in fourth, Walsinia in fifth, McLaren in sixth, Sauber seventh, Caterham in eighth, Toro Rosso ninth, Ricci 10th, and Lotus, surprisingly enough, Lotus last position in the constructor standings. So there we are. That has been the Canadian Grand Prix. A pretty exciting race, I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you for the next round, the Austrian Grand Prix, the first ever Austrian Grand Prix in the OC at the Red Bull Ring. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you there.